Hey, welcome to our third D&D recap. When we last saw our adventurers, they were terrorized by an essence of evil sent by an unknown being thought to be from the abyssal plane. As the billow of darkness escaped the Full Moon Inn, the party witnessed a dramatic procession taking place in the street, parading the leaders of the 5 holds: Grand Deaconess Valcona of Unalor, the Redmire Monarchy of Neria, an Owl and Garant of Aton Levo, and an honorary carriage for Palados, which was a spectacle to the onlookers. After the commotion, the party grabbed breakfast at the Full Moon Inn. Although Animax was distracted by some pancakes prepared for him by his free march fling, and Gunk was preoccupied with some other matters brought on by the morning, Fish and Crispin couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Spotting a mysterious hooded figure in the corner of the inn, Fish decided to approach them, but they quickly made a beeline for the entrance of the inn before disappearing into the crowd brought on by the festivities of earlier. With Gunk in tow, Crispin and Fish spotted the individual disappearing into an alleyway. Pursuing the figure, the trio heard a scream erupt from further down the alleyway, which they discovered came from the hooded figure who was being robbed by thugs. Jumping into action, Fish hollered at the thugs to release the figure and fight like real men, to which the thugs began advancing and sticking their battle mastiff on him. In an epic fashion, Fish clobbered 2 thugs to the ground as Gunk opted for some sneak attacks from higher vantage points. Overtaken by the sweet taste of Otil's pancakes, Animax had still not noticed his party's absence. All the while his party is fighting, Crispin, who had not been spotted yet, used Mage Hand to pull back the mysterious figure's hood, exposing the victim as a black-scaled dragonborn woman who they would later discover as Yalta Draskin. Finally, hearing faint screams coming from outside, Animax became aware of the situation, promising Otil that he would return momentarily before rushing to the alleyway. Approaching a back street bathed in fire that could be credited to the teamwork of Fish and Yalta, Animax leapt into battle, bludgeoning some thugs just as Gunk dashed from the rooftops, carving his short swords into a thug's back. After the uproar of battle, the party was formally invited by Yalta to meet her father, the Baron of Freemarch, Bord Draskin, and share their account of the honorable battle to him. Before setting off, the party returned to the Full Moon Inn to invite Otil and Ashanti to the hold with them, to which they reluctantly agreed. Following Yalta through the streets of the upper districts of Freemarch, the party approached a group of tall, sophisticated buildings protected by a wall donning various flags with an insignia of a twisted dragon, the Draskin Hold. Once at the throne room doors, the party was stopped by guards who said that the leaders were in a meeting that may have an intermission soon, so Yalta directed the party to discover the amenities of the hold. Opting out, Crispin remained in the great room with Ashanti and Otil, who did not turn down any complimentary wine offered by slaves. Immediately approaching the first noble he saw, Animax met Bodhi Morin, a half-elf lord of Aton Levo, who invited the group to the next epic gala held at Falkerstone Keep in Kindfollow. Adventuring to the library, Gunk attempted to learn more of the favor in the Ayer as well as the common language, while Fish read a scroll about a great sword of legend, the Last Breath, that was lost to a temple in the Vile Wastes. Bored of the scroll, Fish moved on to the balcony of the library where he met Vyra Earthmiel, who told him to inform her of any gossip he heard around the hold before offering him a full bottle of wine and grabbing a stack of suspicious papers that she was writing and exiting the balcony. Returning to Crispin, Animax was met with a drunk Otil and a quite buzzed Ashanti, who informed him that Emerald, the cat, had wandered off into the hold and had gone to the gardens. Followed by Crispin and Fish, Animax traversed Desiri's garden to find the alley cat and met Triker Draskin, a bronze dragonborn of little words who invited Fish to spar at the training grounds at the hold. Continuing his studies in the library, Gunk met a small, gray, grung youngling who, after insulting his ability to speak common, offered to teach him. Instead of taking the froglet's proposition, Gunk's fatherly instincts directed him to return the child to his mother in the hold's kitchens. Also finding themselves in the kitchens, Crispin gossiped with the few workers who spoke common while Animax attempted to coax Emerald from the rafters that he was perched on. As Gunk returned the froglet to his mother, he was rewarded with an Ocassian cookbook full of new recipes. As Fish sparred with Triker, Yalta informed him that her father was ready for he and his allies' attendance. Aiding Animax, Crispin lowered Emerald to the ground with Mage Hand before the hold's guards approached them and relayed the same message to return to the throne room. Entering the enormous throne room, the party was once again in the presence of the hold leaders, who all held an ardent intensity. aside from the Owlin, who was followed by Bodhi, the half-elf from earlier. As the leaders filed out for a break, the party approached the towering figure of Bord Draskin, a bronze dragonborn. Although their interaction was brief, the party got a sense that Bord was almost studying them as he heard of their deed in saving Yalta. As a reward, the Baron gave the party a spa day to clean up and relax. As the party reveled in the luxury that is the Draskenhold's baths, they got a message from Bord inviting them to breakfast and asking them to take on a quest from him the next day. Aside from picking on finger food and drinking fancy beverages, Gunk recognized a familiar face, battered and beaten, a guard that they had pulverized to get entrance into Free March only a few days prior. Telling the party of this, they decided to take their leave, with Otil and Ashanti returning to the inn with Emerald. While on the nighttime streets of Free March, the party got a taste for hedonism as they passed the Blue Parrot, a tavern made from the wreckage of a beached ship. Upon entering the bar, the group was met with a rowdy scene of some patrons dancing, some drinking, and some fighting, as a group of grung musicians played a high-spirited tune. After the goblin waitress Tora took their orders and Crispin experienced peer pressure to chug a whole handle of grog, the party was overall quite sozzled. So sozzled, in fact, that Fish decided to join into a bar fight between two Tritons that patrons were betting on after one of them bumped into him. Some patrons booed while others cheered as Fish obliterated the Triton that was left standing from their earlier encounter, ensuing a sea of coin being thrown his way. Tired of the commotion as well as the unwanted attention from tiefling prostitutes, Crispin went outside for some fresh air, meeting the owner of the Blue Parrot, an elderly elvish woman, Lorraine Silvertooth. After having a brief chat, Crispin felt the assuredness that he needed to go fetch his friends from their cyberatic night of fun, finding Animax and Gunk doing a jig on the stage with the grung musicians and buying the entire tavern around. Deciding that he was the easier target, Crispin grabbed a very drunk Fish by his ear, leading him out of the tavern and telling him to stay here and don't wander off. In his attempt to fetch his dancing comrades, Crispin once again ran into the gold tiefling hustler that was bothering him from earlier, but stayed true to his path and got his allies to go outside with Fish. After refusing his services again, the tiefling scoffed, "I never thought Genasi were cute anyways." To which Crispin responded with freezing his dick. Kind of a predictable move at this point. All safe and gathered together, Crispin led the band of inebriates to the Full Moon Inn, where Otil offered them a hangover cure cocktail of an odd appearance that surprisingly did not taste as bad as it looked. From there, the party went to sleep, preparing for the morning meeting with Baron Draskin the following sunrise. What awaits our party at the Draskenhold? Will Baron Draskin finally answer Animax's questions about their eerie experiences? Will Fish get any closer to his home and mercenary group in Salmu? Will Crispin find a reason to remain with his band of allies that he's slowly growing closer to? Will Gunk ever learn Common? We will find out this and more next session.